It was an interesting move. I don't think I've ever seen it.
When the NBA's best talents come together for the All-Star Game, there's sure to be excitement on the court. And it's been that fashion from its initial All-Star Game in 1951 at the famous Boston Garden. I've compiled a list of the best all-time performances in All-Star Tournament's historical record. Number 12. Allen Iverson. When it comes to memorable seasons, few NBA players have had a successful run as Allen Iverson did in 2000 and 2001. He won his second shooting record, that's 31.1 shots each match, and was voted frequent MVP, and led the Philadelphia 76ers to 56 frequent victories and the Eastern Conference Championship that season. At the All-Star Game in Washington, D.C., Iverson's scrappy Eastern Conference team couldn't match up to the big, nasty West, which stormed out to an 11-0 lead in the first period and trailed by 21 with 9 minutes to play in the final. Allen Iverson, on the other hand, would not be discouraged. Even in an irrelevant performance, he would not allow his team to relax. He scored 15 of his match 25 points in the final 9 minutes to rally the East, and Stephen Marbury's pair of threes in the final 53 seconds secured the 111-110 victory. Iverson was named the evident All-Star MVP in the neighborhood of his former college, Georgetown. Number 11. Shaq launches an assault on the Admiral. The 1996 NBA All-Star Game provided an early glimpse of the massive transition of dominance that would engulf the league the following season. For the San Antonio Spurs, the night had all the necessary ingredients of a remarkable one. That is, they hosted the match at the Alamo Dome, and the West bench had David Robinson, the current MVP, then Sean Elliott. Shaquille O'Neal, on the contrary, had different intentions. Instead of bowing to the Admiral of his home ground, O'Neal, who was then playing for the East, made a portrait of the league's best big player. Michael Jordan won MVP awards during his maiden All-Star Game after returning to baseball after netting points per game in the East 129-118 victory. Yet O'Neal stole the show with his 25 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 facial on Robinson. Number 10. 1992 Magic's Kingdom. Magic Johnson announced his retirement in November 1991 following acquiring HIV. Although Johnson resigned even before the 1991-92 season commenced, the world voted him in as an all-star player for the West. He didn't require the experience. He was the entertainer from start to finish, leading the Western Conference with 25 points and 9 passes in a 153-113 victory in Orlando. Isaiah Thomas, one of Johnson's best buddies off the court and most vicious competitors, led some other All-Stars in a series of caresses for the Los Angeles Lakers star even before the tournament, demonstrating to the media that Magic's infection couldn't and wouldn't separate them. According to NBA.com, Johnson added, "Words mean a lot, but it's sentiment that matters the most. Ours is a compassionate sport." With the game essentially decided, Johnson returned the favor by protecting Thomas and Michael Jordan on successive attempts, while also setting up Dan Majerle for a layup and sinking his three-pointer. Number 9. Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal in 2009. Few teams have had as much clout and dominance as Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. However, their reign was brought to a halt by their different styles, ambitions, and a disappointing championship run in 2004. The two great hoopers had been feuding for years, that is until the 2009 NBA All-Star Game, when they ultimately buried their pain. Shaq and Kobe put on a vintage show for the crowd and arguably the greatest NBA All-Star matches ever. Shaq stormed off the reserve with 17 points, 5 rebounds and 3 services in just 11 minutes, while Bryant scored 27 points with 4 interceptions. The West triumphed 146-119, with the Lakers legends sharing MVP honors. Number 8. 2020 Kobe Bryant. Many think that the 2020 NBA All-Star Tournament was the best in history, and it's difficult to disagree. It was particularly poignant because it came so soon after Kobe Bryant's untimely death, and NBA was preparing to pay homage to the deceased superstar. Apart from renaming the All-Star top prize after Kobe, the NBA also paid homage to the Black Mamba's fighting attitude by changing the gaming system slightly. In the fourth quarter, the play timer was stopped, and the team who had led after 3 quarters only had to score 24 more points to qualify. That inspired the opposing team to execute a defensive pattern like we hadn't experienced in the All-Star games in ages. Number 7. Michael Jordan, 1988. We present the illustrious NBA All-Star Game of 1988. It became one of those times when Michael Jordan grabbed and demonstrated to the rest of the world that he was the finest player on the planet. Jordan was the NBA's top scorer with 35 points per game, 3.2 steals, and 40.4 minutes per game. He was named MVP and Defensive Player of the Year by a wide margin. Jordan also produced arguably the finest slam dunk contest moments of history before guiding the East to victory one night. He tallied 40 points, 8 rebounds, 3 services, 4 interceptions, and 4 rejections in the All-Star Game, completing arguably the finest performances in professional sporting events with MVP accolades. Number 6. 2003 LeBron James. For NBA, 2003 is a memorable season for LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade. It produced perhaps the best team in history. However, it also provided us with one of the most memorable NBA All-Star scenes, Michael Jordan's goodbye. Number 5. 2005. The Birdman does not fly. Chris Birdman Anderson told fellow participants that the Birdman was going to fly, then went on to execute the poorest slam championship display. He blew jump shots while throwing himself. He missed jump shots when throwing to J.R. Smith, and he even delivered to J.R. Smith incorrectly. He made 9 efforts to make his first slam, then an additional 6 to make his next. His jump shots were so awful that the NBA banned him. Amare Stoudemire and champion Josh Smith both had fantastic slam moments, but Birdman dominated them. Number 4, 2008, LeBron James put the game out of reach. Again, the 2008 All-Star Game was a close call, with the score knotted 125 to 125 with less than a minute remaining. That's when LeBron James seized the event, stealing an inbound ball from teammate Jason Kidd and slamming a dunk over what appeared to be the whole West team. With 27 points, 9 passes, and 7 blocks, LeBron won his second All-Star MVP award with a score of 134 to 128. Number 3, 2006. The first dunk-off. Nate Robinson won the first dunk-off at All-Star Weekend, but it was a contentious victory. Andre Iguodala had executed one of the greatest jump shots in NBA history by jamming a pass off the surfboard. Number 2, 2013, Jeremy Evans creates a piece of genius. Outside of basketball, Jeremy Evans' favorite interest is art. Therefore, at the 2013 Slam Dunk Contest, the defending champion wanted to integrate his passion for a portrait with his passion for slamming by slamming over an artwork, a painting of Evans slamming across the same artwork. It's a mind-blowing Mobius rainbow of a slam that no one saw coming in actual time. And he did it all by himself, because the Philistine electors were uninterested in painting. Terrence Ross received the prize instead. Number 1. The Elam ending with Kobe and Gianna. The 2020 All-Star Game took place barely 3 weeks after Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna were killed in a helicopter disaster. The NBA also honored Bryant with an 8-second silence and clip before and after the game, including the numbers worn by the two teams, Gianna's number 2 for Team LeBron and Kobe's number 24 for Team Giannis, as well as an 8 seconds of silence and a clip tributes before and after the game. The All-Star also paid homage to Kobe's Mamba mindset with a tense fourth quarter that featured the Elam ending, in which teams played to a final score rather than 48 minutes. The game finished anticlimactically with Anthony Davis winning free throws after a series of strong defensive stops, but it was an emotional, competitive evening of basketball overall.